Let's get to the full narrated chapter of One Piece 1120 after the intro. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel, and before the content of this video, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell so you don't miss anything. And well, now let's get to the content. Cover 1. Chapter 1120 of One Piece, Atlas. Note, the kanji in the chapter title means violence, but the kana reading is Atorasu, Atlas. Cover story. Yamato's substitute Golden Harvest pilgrimage. Child Onivolver 10, daimyo of Kibi Denjiro, will punish the children. We see Denjiro with the children who were throwing stones at Yamato now in a net, while Yamato tries to stop him from doing so. Page 2. Initial note, days past of the geniuses, Punk Hazard 26 years ago. We see Punk Hazard, very different from what we know, with lots of trees around the factories. In the next panel, we see Vegapunk's Big Head and Clover talking. Clover says, "Please, Vegapunk, let's research the Void Century together. In this world, there is a deep darkness being neglected. If I continue my research, I will need knowledge from other fields of study. As you can see, I am already a government scientist. I can't just distribute data. How many times have you been caught? You are completely monitored. You know why they let you live, don't you? They left you loose so they could find your accomplices. Get out of here right now. You will never be able to measure the good and evil of the past." Page 3. Clover then says, "In the past, I saw a man with the name D being killed right in front of me. He is the person I grew up with from the moment I was born. He is my older brother. My real name is Kura D. Clover." Quick flashback of Clover begging. He is my friend." Back to the conversation, Clover says excitedly, "That day I lied to survive. In this world, is it fair to be killed for having a certain name from the moment you are born? There is a history that is continuously being erased without anyone knowing." Vegapunk says, "I will not cooperate with you. I will forget this conversation now." As he turns his back to Vegapunk, Clover says, "Vegapunk, I will definitely solve this. I can hear the voice of the past." A note about Clover's full name. His name is written in Japanese as Kurao Kuroba. When written in Romaji, it is Kurao Kuroba. When searching for Kurao on Google, the top 3 results are 1. Cleom from Cleom Solis, also known as the Sword of Light in Scottish and Irish Gaelic mythology. It is one of the god-killing weapons of tradition. Kurao is one of the readings of Cleom in Japanese. Bob 2, Kura Phantom Memory, a Japanese sci-fi anime about alternative energy research. 3. Kura, a creamy Brazilian dessert like a pudding. Kura can also be read as siniran, which means one to eat, devour, to be on the opposite side of a blow. Kurao can also be written as crow. Cleom, Kurao, crow, Kurao. These are the possible English spellings of Clover's D surname. Page 4, 22 years ago, still in Punk Hazard. We see Caesar Clown, who says, "Did you hear? The Buster Call was invoked in O'Hara in the West Blue. I wish I had seen it. Mass annihilation." It seems they finally incriminated that archaeologist Clover, Shirororo. After this event, there will never be another person researching the Void Century. What a way to set an example. Caesar says there is a survivor, a child it seems. Then we see Vegapunk with Robin's wanted poster in his hand. In the next panel, we see when Vegapunk visited O'Hara post-Buster Call. Vegapunk says, "There should have been enough time for you to escape." Clover, page 5, Vegapunk crying a lot, thinks, "You mean to tell me that all of you died to leave these books for future generations? How foolish. Who in the world would have the mortal resolve to inherit all your research?" Back to the present, Vegapunk's transmission says, "Someone once said, I can hear the voice of the past. History is passed by the victors. The voices of the defeated who sank are extremely weak. But above all sacrifices, the truth that was discovered has now been transmitted to the world." While Vegapunk speaks, we see Zeph and Patty. We also see the Kila Wolf Bridge, where guards are whipping the workers. In the last panel of the page, we see Robin, crying a lot with her hand on her face, page 6. We see Zoro shouting, "Hey, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and make this thing fly." Lilith says, "No, we can't yet." Zoro then says, "That old man on the horse will come back and attack again." Lilith says that might be the case, but no, I understand that this ship has an acceleration device that allows it to fly for a kilometer, but if it slows down a bit during approach, the horizontal projection distance will decrease. The wind is blowing north. The tailwind will reduce the lift force. If my calculations are correct, the ship won't reach the sea and will suffer significant damage, unless that old man is defeated. Then something catches Lilith's attention. Huh? Page 7. Atlas arrives with force and gives a big punch to Lilith's head. Lilith, you are! Everyone inside the Sunny screams, Lilith! Zoro says, huh? Usopp and Chopper scream, Atlas, what did you do to Lilith? Atlas, panting, presses a button on Lilith's head. Atlas looks at everyone and says, take care of Lilith. Everyone, surprised, says, what? Atlas says, take off now, I'll get rid of the obstacle. Usopp says, what do you mean? York, smiling, says, Lilith's access has been cut off. The only one left is Atlas. While we see Venus Drew's face, Nami says, Zoro, take Lilith inside. Zoro responds, got it. Usopp says, hey Atlas, tell us your reason. While he says this, Atlas flies towards Venus Drew. Page 9. We see Jinbei already at the helm. He says, all right, we're taking off. Chopper says, huh? Jinbei says, if we delay in making decisions, we will regret it. Zoro says, do it now, Brook. Brook says, understood, Zoro-san. Coup day. Then Venus Drew cuts off one of Atlas's arms. Then, finally, Brook says, burst. As the Sunny finally takes off, we see Atlas throwing himself towards Venus Drew, and Stella's voice in the transmission saying, I pray that. Vegapunk continues, I pray that this transmission has been safely transmitted so far, then back to the north coast where the Giant's ship is. The Marines are shocked. They say incredulously, what the hell is happening, Vice Admiral Hound? A giant boar, snake, bird, robot. Vice Admiral Hound says, I have no idea. No one told me about this. We see Luffy with his eyes popping out. He says, giant robot. Giants say, a metal giant. Emeth says, Joy Boy, I'm so happy we've met again. Luffy looks back, I'm talking about you. Emeth gives a comic man's eye style back slap. Page 12. Vegapunk in the transmission says, hearing the one-sided story about the conflict from 900 years ago is quite foolish. Emeth says, go ahead. Your enemy is my enemy. I'm so happy. I can fight for you again. Joy Boy. Luffy says, this is amazing. So you can talk? Emeth says, Joy Boy is in danger. I must protect him. War Curie says, if we don't tear this thing to pieces. Jupiter says, we won't be able to stop Vegapunk's speech. Dory says, go ahead. Brogy says, hey, is that an ally Straw Hat? Luffy says, I'm not sure, but he's saying he's going to protect a guy named Joy Boy. Who could that be? What? Saying? We didn't hear anything. Huh? Really? Vice Admiral Bluegrass. Don't stand there. Don't let them escape. Keep firing. Marines say, yes, ma'am. As we see the Elbaf ship taking the shots, Vegapunk's transmission says, history must be seen in a multilateral way. I wish I had more time. 14, as we see Jupiter preparing to attack the robot, Vegapunk's transmission says, but there are those who can no longer be stopped. Emeth raises his arm. We see Frankie and Sanji with shining eyes. Both say, look, he's going to fire something. But then it fails. Emeth's eyes look sad. He says, oh heavens. Luffy with wide eyes says, watch out, robot. Then Jupiter with a bite tears off the robot's arm. The giants scream, no, robot. Frankie says, a 900-year-old weapon. Of course it won't work. Saturn then says, Peter, keep going and devour that. Stop the transmission. He jumps onto the Elbaf ship. Page 16. Saturn, looking at the giant, says, I won't let you escape. Giants scream, wah! Saturn says, Kuma. Bonnie. Sanji then looks up and says, it's the Sunny. And on the Sunny, Zoro says, hold on tight, we're falling. Nami says, hey, wait a minute, are we really going to make it? To think you would sacrifice yourself. No, I prefer to call it service. Then Atlas explodes while the Sunny is in free fall. Wow, double page 18 and 19. Vegapunk's transmission says, 25 years ago, Goldie Roger, Straw Hat crew, screaming, we're gonna reach the sea. Vegapunk's transmission continues. Achieved the unprecedented feat of circumnavigating the world. Usopp crying shouts, you can't do this to us, Atlas. Vegapunk's transmission. And he must have heard. York, laughing a lot, says, now that Atlas is gone, I alone remain as the only Dr. Vegapunk. V, Nushiro says, no, not yet. Saturn says, that stubborn Stella keeps babbling. In a beautiful panel, we see Emeth with a flaming arm. Jupiter, responding to Saturn, says, but of course. Warcury says, we will stop this soon. Emeth says, oh heavens, oh heavens, oh heavens, I've rusted. I think now is the right time. Should I use that? Vegapunk's transmission says, the purest voice of the past. In other words, I think everyone realized, but that's how I summarize the future. In the last panel, we see some prisoners saying, what? Did he say goal D? End of chapter, final text. The genius talks about the future. In the next edition, cover and color page in Jump. End of the chapter and no break next week. That's it. This was the complete narrated chapter. If you liked it, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. I will still make one more video about this chapter, my analysis and theories. Thank you, see you next time, and thanks.